The Galactic Council's verdict, the Chamber of Judgment. The massive chamber of the Galactic Federation stretched before Ambassador Marcus Rivera like a coliseum of judgment. 12 different species sat in curved tiers that rose toward a crystalline dome, their alien features casting dancing shadows under the bioluminescent lighting. At the highest point sat Chancellor Vorthak of the Krillian Empire, his 6 arms folded across his armored chest, while his compound eyes glittered with what humans might recognize as disdain. Marcus adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform and stepped toward the central speaking platform. Around him, the representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations whispered among themselves in languages that had existed for millennia, before humans had even discovered fire. The translation devices hummed softly, but Marcus could sense the mockery that needed no translation. To his left, Admiral Thesara of the Aquatic Confederation floated in her specialized water chamber, her gill slits fluttering with what appeared to be suppressed laughter. The massive bulk of General Gorvak from the silicon-based rock world shifted with sounds like grinding stone, while the energy beings of the Plasma Collective flickered with colors that Marcus had learned indicated amusement. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Federation for only 50 years, making them the newest and by far the weakest members. Their technology was considered primitive, their ships outdated, and their military capabilities laughable compared to empires that had conquered entire star systems while Earth was still in its medieval period. The plea for help. Honored members of the Federation Council, Marcus began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic systems. I come before you today seeking assistance for our Outer Rim colonies. The Shadowclaw Raiders have attacked 23 human settlements in the past 2 months. Our defense fleets are overwhelmed, and civilian casualties are mounting daily. A sound rippled through the assembly that Marcus had come to recognize as the galactic equivalent of scoffing. Chancellor Vorthak's mandibles clicked together in a pattern that indicated impatience. Ambassador Rivera, the Chancellor's voice resonated through the translation system with a mechanical coldness. Your species has made this same request 17 times in the past decade. Each time we have explained that Federation resources cannot be wasted on protecting colonies that were established without proper authorization or adequate defenses. Marcus felt his jaw tighten but maintained his diplomatic composure. With respect, Chancellor, these colonies were established according to Federation protocols. The attacks have escalated beyond simple piracy. The Shadowclaw Raiders are using military-grade weapons and coordinated assault tactics that suggest backing from a major power. Admiral Thesara's water chamber bubbled as she spoke. Human colonies are established in the most dangerous and unprofitable regions of space. Your species lacks the wisdom to choose safe locations or the strength to defend what you claim. This is not the Federation's responsibility to correct. The chamber erupted in what Marcus had learned were expressions of agreement from various species. Chittering from the insectoid hives, harmonic resonances from the crystal entities, and deep rumbling from the gas giant dwellers all indicated unanimous consensus. The verdict of weakness, General Gorvak's voice sounded like boulders grinding together. Humans are emotional creatures. You make decisions based on feelings rather than logic. Your governments change leadership every few cycles, making long-term planning impossible. Your economic systems are chaotic, and your social structures are primitive at best. Furthermore, added Counselor Zyrath of the Telepathic Union, her mental voice echoing in every mind present, your species has an unfortunate tendency toward violence. You wage wars among yourselves even while claiming to seek peace with others. This internal conflict demonstrates a fundamental inability to evolve beyond your primitive origins. Marcus stood silent as each species took their turn listing humanity's perceived failings. They were too short-lived to think in the generational terms required for galactic citizenship. Their technology advanced too slowly. Their ships were inefficient. Their weapons were crude. Their diplomacy was clumsy. The verbal assault continued for nearly an hour. Each criticism felt like a physical blow, not because Marcus believed them, but because he knew that behind each word lay the dismissal of billions of human lives as essentially worthless. Chancellor Vorthak finally called for order. The question before this council is whether Federation resources should be allocated to assist human colonies against the Shadowclaw raiders. I call for a formal vote. Marcus watched as each representative registered their decision on the quantum voting system. The results appeared instantly on the holographic display above the chamber. The vote was unanimous. Motion denied. A dangerous secret A's. Marcus gathered his materials and prepared to leave. Admiral Thesara approached him privately. Her water chamber glided silently across the chamber floor until she was close enough to speak without being overheard. "Ambassador," she said quietly, her voice carrying a tone that Marcus couldn't quite interpret. "I do not say these things from personal malice. Your species shows potential, but you must understand your position in the Galactic Order. Humanity is new, unproven, and frankly expendable in the greater scheme of cosmic politics." She paused, her fins rippling with what might have been sympathy. "Focus on survival rather than expansion. Perhaps in a few centuries your species might earn true respect. Until then, accept your limitations and work within them." The journey back to Earth took 2 weeks aboard the human transport vessel Meridian. Captain Sarah Mitchell, a veteran deep space explorer who had volunteered to provide the ambassador with passage home, found Marcus staring out the observation deck's viewport as stars streaked past in hyperspace. "Rough meeting?" she asked, settling into the chair beside him. Marcus laughed bitterly. "They called us children playing with toys we don't understand. Thesara suggested we focus on survival rather than expansion. The vote for aid was completely unanimous against us." Sarah nodded grimly. "I've heard similar opinions from alien traders I've encountered in the outer systems. They think we're a joke, barely worthy of Federation membership." She paused, glancing around the observation deck to ensure they were alone. "But they don't know everything about us." "What do you mean?" Sarah's eyes took on a mysterious gleam. "I've been exploring the outer rim for 12 years, Captain. I've seen things out there that don't match any official star charts. Dead zones in space where no signals return. Energy readings that don't correspond to any known technology. 3 months ago, I detected something in the Nexus Void that shouldn't exist. The Nexus Void was a region of space that every galactic civilization avoided religiously. It was a dark nebula where ships vanished without trace. Communications failed completely, and sensors malfunctioned in ways that suggested the laws of physics themselves were unreliable. Even the most advanced alien vessels maintained a buffer zone of several light-years around its borders. The mysterious signal. What kind of something? Marcus asked, his diplomatic training warring with sudden curiosity. A signal, Sarah replied, quietly. Old, but not ancient. Maybe 200 years old, broadcasting on frequencies that match early human emergency beacons. But the encryption was unlike anything in our current databases. The signal was definitely human in origin, but it came from coordinates deep inside the void, from a location that should be completely empty space according to every survey we've ever conducted. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. You reported this to Earth Command? I tried. Sarah's voice carried a note of frustration, but every time I attempted to transmit the data, it was intercepted and deleted by some kind of security protocol I didn't know existed. It's as if someone or something doesn't want this information reaching Earth's government. The implications were staggering. If there were humans in the Nexus Void, they had been there for 2 centuries, long before humanity had achieved reliable, faster-than-light travel. But how was that possible? And why was the information being suppressed? Sarah continued. I've been modifying my ship's sensor arrays and defensive systems. If there's something out there, I'm going to find it. The Meridian might not be the newest ship in the fleet, but she's tough, and she's mine. That's incredibly dangerous, Marcus warned. The Nexus Void has swallowed entire exploration fleets. The Krillians lost a battle group there 50 years ago. Maybe, Sarah replied, her eyes reflecting the starlight streaming past the viewport. But if there's even a chance that humans have been out there all this time, surviving in conditions that would destroy anyone else, then maybe we're not as weak as the galaxy believes. The weight of mockery. As they approached Earth's solar system, both the ambassador and the captain carried the heavy burden of their species' perceived inadequacy. The galaxy had made its position clear. Humanity was a minor player in cosmic affairs, barely worthy of notice and certainly not deserving of respect or assistance. But Sarah's discovery suggested a possibility that neither of them dared voice aloud. What if humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might? What if it was their ability to endure, adapt, and plan for futures that other species couldn't even imagine? The Meridian docked at Luna Station 3 days later. As Marcus prepared to deliver his disappointing report to the Earth Council, Sarah began immediate preparations for what she knew would be the most dangerous mission of her career. She would venture into the Nexus void alone, following the mysterious signal that suggested humanity's presence in the galaxy was far older and more complex than anyone suspected. Neither of them realized that their actions would soon trigger a chain of events that would fundamentally alter the balance of power in the galaxy. The aliens had spent decades mocking humanity's weakness, never suspecting that sometimes the greatest strength comes from being consistently underestimated. Deep in the Nexus void, something was waiting, something that would prove once and for all that humanity's true power lay not in matching the strength of their enemies, but in exceeding the imagination of their allies. The mockery was about to end, and the galaxy was about to learn the hidden truth revealed into the Nexus void. 3 weeks after leaving Earth, Captain Sarah Mitchell's ship, the Meridian, drifted silently through the outer edges of the Nexus void. The space around her vessel had become an unsettling mixture of swirling, dark matter and energy discharges that played havoc with conventional sensors. Her navigation systems flickered constantly, trying to make sense of readings that defied everything she knew about physics. Sarah had spent the journey upgrading her ship's sensor array with experimental technology borrowed from classified Earth research projects. The modifications weren't exactly legal, but given that she was flying into what most considered a cosmic graveyard, breaking a few regulations seemed like the least of her concerns. The mysterious signal grew stronger with each passing hour, guiding her deeper into the nebula where no sane pilot would venture. The Meridian's hull groaned occasionally as it encountered pockets of exotic matter, but the sturdy ship held together despite the impossible conditions surrounding it. "Computer, enhance signal resolution on the emergency beacon," Sarah commanded, her voice the only sound breaking the eerie silence of her bridge. "Signal resolution enhanced. Warning. Detected energy signature matches no known technology in Federation databases. Recommend immediate withdrawal from current position." Sarah smiled grimly. "Computer, since when has anything about this mission been recommended by Federation protocols? Continue on current heading." As the Meridian pushed deeper into the void, Sarah began to notice something extraordinary. Her modified sensors were detecting structures in the darkness that shouldn't exist. Massive geometric shapes that appeared to be artificial, hidden within the swirling chaos of the nebula's interior. The impossible discovery. After 6 days of careful navigation through the treacherous nebula, Sarah finally saw it. Emerging from a particularly dense cloud of dark matter, the sight before her defied every assumption about humanity's place in the galaxy. A space station of incredible proportions stretched before her, easily 40 kilometers in diameter, with multiple rotating rings and towering spires that disappeared into the nebula's depths. The design was unmistakably human, but incorporated technologies that shouldn't have existed for centuries. The entire structure seemed to phase in and out of visible reality, wrapped in some kind of advanced cloaking system that made it effectively invisible to normal sensors. But the station wasn't alone. As Sarah's enhanced sensors swept the area, she detected dozens of other structures hidden throughout the nebula. Shipyards, mining platforms, defensive installations, and what appeared to be entire cities floating in the darkness. It was a complete civilization hidden in the one place the galaxy feared to explore. "This is Captain Sarah Mitchell of the Earth vessel Meridian," she transmitted on the emergency frequency. "I'm receiving your beacon signal. Please respond." For several long moments there was only the static of cosmic interference. Then a voice crackled through her communication system, speaking in perfect Earth standard with an accent she couldn't quite place. "Captain Mitchell, this is New Haven Control. You are cleared for docking bay 7. Welcome home. Welcome home. The words sent a shiver through Sarah's entire body. How could this place be home when she had never seen it before in her life? New Haven Station. The docking process was smoother than anything Sarah had experienced at Earth's most advanced facilities. Invisible tractor beams guided the Meridian into a massive hangar bay that could have accommodated ships 10 times her size. As her vessel settled into its berth, Sarah saw figures approaching through the transparent aluminum viewports. They were human, but dressed in uniforms unlike anything she had seen before. The fabric seemed to incorporate fiber optics that created subtle patterns of light, and the design suggested both functionality and elegance that spoke of centuries of refinement. Dr. Elena Vasquez was the first to greet Sarah as she disembarked. Despite sharing a name with Earth's current Minister of Colonial Affairs, this woman was clearly from an entirely different branch of humanity. She was tall and graceful, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that seemed to hold depths of knowledge that no human should possess. "Captain Mitchell," she said warmly, extending her hand. "We've been monitoring your approach for some time. We're pleased you found us, though I suspect you have quite a few questions." Sarah shook the offered hand, noting that Dr. Vasquez's grip was surprisingly strong. "I have more than a few questions, starting with who you are and how long you've been out here?" Dr. Vasquez smiled, an expression that seemed both proud and melancholic. "I am Dr. Elena Vasquez, Chief Science Officer of New Haven Station. As for how long we've been here, that's a story that goes back much further than you might expect. We've been building this civilization for over 200 years. The hidden history." The number hit Sarah like a physical blow. That's impossible. Humanity didn't have faster-than-light travel 200 years ago. We barely had sustainable colonies in our own solar system. "Officially, that's correct," Dr. Vasquez replied. "But humanity has always had visionaries who thought beyond official timelines. Come, let me show you something that will help explain." She led Sarah through corridors that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. The architecture was hauntingly beautiful, incorporating curves and angles that suggested organic growth rather than mechanical construction. Along the walls, holographic displays showed star maps of regions Sarah had never seen before, with notations in languages that appeared to be evolved forms of Earth's major tongues. They entered what Dr. Vasquez called the Memorial Hall. The vast chamber contained thousands of holographic displays, each showing the face and brief biography of a person. Sarah realized she was looking at the founders of this hidden civilization. "In 2157, Dr. Vasquez began, a group of Earth's most brilliant scientists and engineers made a discovery that they knew would change everything. They found a way to manipulate what we now call quantum foam, creating stable wormholes through space-time. But they also realized that this technology was centuries ahead of humanity's ability to use it responsibly." She gestured to one of the displays, showing a middle-aged man with kind eyes and graying hair. "Dr. Marcus Chen, my great-great-grandfather, was the leader of what they called the Pioneer Initiative. He convinced 3,000 volunteers to leave Earth in secret, traveling through the first stable wormhole to establish humanity's first true interstellar colony." The secret exodus. Sarah stared at the displays, trying to process the magnitude of what she was seeing. 3,000 people just vanished from Earth without anyone noticing? "It was carefully planned over several years," Dr. Vasquez explained. "They recruited from among Earth's most capable individuals, people whose disappearance could be explained by accidents, career changes, or simple desires for privacy. Scientists, engineers, teachers, doctors, farmers, artists, every skill needed to build a new civilization." Another display showed technical specifications for ships that looked like primitive versions of the vessels Sarah had seen in the docking bay. The first generation spent decades just surviving in this nebula. The Nexus void provided perfect cover from galactic observation, but it also presented challenges that pushed human ingenuity to its absolute limits. Dr. Vasquez led Sarah to an observation deck that offered a view of the station's interior. What Sarah saw took her breath away. The rotating rings of New Haven contained entire ecosystems, with forests, lakes, and cities that housed millions of people. Children played in parks while adults went about their daily business, all under artificial skies that perfectly mimicked Earth's atmosphere. Each generation built upon the work of the last, Dr. Vasquez continued. We developed technologies that the rest of the galaxy still considers impossible. We learned to manipulate matter at the quantum level, to create energy from the fabric of space-time itself, to build ships that could phase between dimensions, the Galactic Watchers. But why the secrecy? Sarah asked. Why not reveal yourselves to the galaxy? With technology like this, humanity could be the dominant species in the Federation. Dr. Vasquez's expression grew serious. Because we've been watching, Captain. We've observed every species in the galaxy for 2 centuries. We've seen how they treat each other, how they respond to power, how they destroy civilizations that they perceive as threats. She activated a holographic display that showed galactic history from perspectives Sarah had never seen before. Wars between species that had lasted for millennia. Entire civilizations erased from existence. Technologies suppressed to maintain the balance of power among the established empires. The Krillian Empire alone has destroyed 17 species that they considered too ambitious. The Aquatic Confederation has rendered 12 worlds uninhabitable rather than allow other species to colonize them. The reality of galactic politics is far more brutal than Earth's government realizes. Sarah felt a chill as the implications became clear. You're saying that if humanity revealed advanced technology, the other species would unite to destroy us? Without question, Dr. Vasquez replied. But there's another reason we remained hidden. We've been preparing for something that we knew would eventually come. The galaxy's treatment of humanity has been a test, and they've failed it completely. The awakening Dr. Vasquez led Sarah to what she called the command center, a massive chamber filled with holographic displays showing every corner of the galaxy. Sarah realized she was looking at the most comprehensive intelligence network ever created, with information about every major species, every military installation, every political alliance. We've been monitoring the Federation's treatment of Earth for 50 years, Dr. Vasquez explained. Every request for aid denied, every insult delivered, every attempt to keep humanity in a subordinate position. We've recorded it all. She activated another display showing real-time communications throughout the galaxy. We know about the Shadowclaw Raiders' attacks on human colonies. We know they're being supplied with advanced weapons by the Krillian Empire to test humanity's defenses. We know that several Federation species have been planning to partition Earth's territories among themselves. Sarah's hands clenched into fists. They're using us as a testing ground for their weapons while publicly denying us aid? It's worse than that, Dr. Vasquez said grimly. They're planning to declare humanity a failed species within the next year, justifying military intervention to protect human civilians by placing them under Federation oversight. It would be the end of human independence. She turned to face Sarah directly. That's why we brought you here, Captain. It's time for the galaxy to learn the truth about humanity. It's time for New Haven to emerge from the shadows. The revelation is, if responding to her words, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Dr. Vasquez activated her personal communicator, and a voice Sarah recognized as belonging to New Haven Control filled the chamber. Dr. Vasquez, we're detecting a massive Federation fleet approaching human space. 12 species, over 300 ships. They're moving to implement what they're calling Operation Guardianship. Dr. Vasquez looked at Sarah with eyes that suddenly blazed with determination. The galaxy has made its choice, Captain. They've decided that humanity is too weak to deserve freedom. Now they're about to discover just how wrong they've been. She activated a station-wide communication system, and her voice echoed throughout New Haven. All citizens, this is Dr. Vasquez. The time of hiding is over. Activate Phase 1 of the Revelation Protocol. Humanity's children are coming home. Throughout the nebula, Sarah watched as dozens of massive ships began to phase into visibility. These weren't the crude vessels the galaxy expected from humanity. These were ships that looked like they had been built from starlight itself, incorporating technologies that made Federation vessels look like primitive toys. Captain Mitchell, Dr. Vasquez said, turning back to her with a smile that would have terrified the members of the Galactic Council. Would you like to deliver a message to the galaxy? I think it's time they understood what happens when you underestimate humanity for too long. As New Haven Station and its hidden fleet prepared to emerge from the Nexus void, Sarah realized that the galaxy was about to experience the greatest shock in its recorded history. The species they had mocked as weak children were about to reveal themselves as something far more dangerous than any empire had ever imagined. The joke was over, and humanity was about to have the last laugh.